We're here for another Thursday edition of What the Hell Are We Doing? You want to join? Did a quick call for questions on Instagram. Basically, to sum up, are you actually living in the van? How often are you sleeping in it? I see that confusion coming from the fact that we stayed in a lot of friends and family's homes when we were in Washington.
That trip was an interesting kind of quasi vacation slash let's give it a test run. We just have so many friends and family that are up north. They invited us to stay in their home, and so of course we took advantage of that. And going up there knowing that the weather wasn't going to be great, it worked out. And when we were in Portland, we got an Airbnb because Laura and I were taking CrossFit's level 1 course, and my mom was looking after Evie.
We didn't have space for her in the van. Building out the van kind of in phases because of what we can afford at each time. And so we don't have a lot of climate control, and we didn't know what to expect for the Pacific Northwest trip. We wanted to make sure that we set ourselves up for success, especially because we have Evie. If it was just the two of us, we would have risked potential very cold nights. With Evie, we wanted to make sure that we would have warm options should the need come. It actually turns out that under our quilt or our down comforter, we are plenty warm.
It's freezing us cold in the van, but in bed, we're totally fine.
Sum up the Pacific Northwest trip. We stayed probably a third of the time in the van outside of people's homes. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the time we stayed in friends and family's homes, aside from 2 Airbnbs. We stayed in Ashland at a beautiful little farm, and then that was just gonna be one night to kind of feel out. That was our first night in Oregon. And again, we didn't know the weather situation. And we ended up really, really enjoying the host, and she gave us a discount to come back. So Evie and I stayed there on the way back. We stayed in some friends and family's homes. We lived in Washington for a year, so we have a lot of people that we love up there. They opened their homes to us, and so it wasn't like we were going to be prideful and say, we live in a van, we're gonna sleep in the van. If someone opens their home to us, what a treat to get to spend that extra time with them. And then we came back to my parents, and we had a little bit of a transition period. And now, it's only speaking for myself, and you can chime in with your thoughts, but I feel for the first time like we're actually living in it. And we kind of talked about this, where that first trip felt like we were living out of the van.
Yep.
And now I feel like we're living in the van, where we're making coffee in the morning and breakfast. Right now we're in at New Brighton Beach in Santa Cruz, where we have a state park pass, and so we can use this beautiful campground, and there's a huge picnic area to make meals. We're sleeping in the van, our clothes are in the van, our food is in the van. Do you feel like we're living in the van right now?
I guess it depends on what you define as living in the van.
So we were having this conversation, and I was like, well, it comes down to your definition of living in the van. And he gave me a hard time, and then you just said
I'm actually completely being facetious. We're living in the van, but at the same time, we have opportunities to stay in people's homes because they invite us in, and we're going to take advantage of that.
And kitchens, my God, the best.
Yeah, we're going to take opportunities as they arise and appreciate people's hospitality.
We didn't do this out of ego or pride to be like, we live in a van. We did it for the freedom it entails, for the opportunity to connect with people, for the opportunity to see and experience new places, for the opportunity to be together more.
I think that's the biggest thing, is like we said in our reasons why, we're doing it to save money, we're doing it to see different places and see different people. I don't want to be defined as we live in a van. So
right, we're not hashtag van life. We're
interesting question. We don't have a permanent address, so that is our home. That's where our possessions are. That's where we go back to every single day and every single night. So yeah, we do live in a van.
Love you, Mom and Dad. But we both realized that for the best sake of our family and to actually live out the goal, we just can't be there. It was kind of one of those things where it was easy to fall into. And so we were doing it more frequently than I think we had planned. And so now we're in a place where no, we're living in the van. When we're in the Bay Area, we're going to spend as much time in Santa Cruz as we can, because this is our home. This is where it feels the most like home, in this area for sure. But the goal is to be on the road more and to be traveling more and to be experiencing places more. I'm super grateful to have had that as a place to transition.
Absolutely. To figure things out, and because obviously this is a big change and we're just trying to figure it out.
So now I feel like we are ready to be kicked out of the nest and to fly. We both feel that we are now living in the van fully. We look forward to connecting with people, and when the homes are open, kitchens open, showers open. So just to clarify, we have a toilet, a bed, a fridge, a fan,
and that's it.
And that's all, and storage. And that's really all we need for now. The goal is to live in it this first year, see what else we need to add, and become more and more self-sufficient. But we've learned that, we also have a water little tank.
Yeah.
Enough to brush our teeth and give the dogs
it's a-
water. When we were in Ashland, just Evie and I, it totally ran out, and we had to go on like a mad search around downtown Ashland to find water. Found a tiny corner market. Evie melted down. That was fun. Lesson learned, do not run out of water. Anytime we see a hose, we fill it basically. So right now we're sitting at New Brighton. We just had breakfast, sourdough,
gorgeous
cheese,
day.
eggs.